Hello, everybody. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged. Today is Wednesday, September 16th. It's a few minutes after 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And I hope this live feed is finding you all well. Thank you for joining us today. And as I always do, I'm going to jump over to Facebook to make sure that we're actually streaming and coming in loud and clear. So stand by or hang out with me as I do that here. Bear with me. All right, I do see. I think we are live. See, John Campbell has already made a comment. I've got here, we'll put John up on his message up on the screen. John says, I have so many questions. Gonna be so awesome. I agree, John. And thank you for posting a message. If you're out there watching or listening, please drop into the comments, say hello, and tell me where you're coming to us from. I'm not gonna lie. Today's show coming to you live here at 12:30 up until just about an hour ago. I wasn't fully confident I was going to be able to do this, only because I'm in a neighborhood, and for those of you that watch and listen to the show, you know that I'm in a new construction neighborhood from Pulte, and right next to me, they just started the construction on the empty lot. They're going to be building a house there, and wouldn't you know that the earth moving equipment managed to dig up my AT&T fiber line that ran perfectly across that lot from point A to point B. And so magically I lost my internet. And so that happened around noon yesterday. And there were some frantic gyrations this morning to get all the appropriate parties out and assembled and put my fiber back in the ground, darn it. And it happened. And it happened right around 11:30. So just about an hour ago. And so I'm excited. We get to bring you episode 137. We would have brought you episode 137 anyway, but we're here on our regular day and our regular time, which is always nice. Today, our guest is Matt Fowler. He is a co-owner, director of operations over at HomeTroniX of Arkansas, LLC. And Matt has a lot of interesting stories. He has a bit of a more diverse background, maybe than some. Well, I don't know. Everyone I bring on always has all these different interesting backgrounds. And Matt is no different, I would say, in that he brings a very diverse background into his currently running the operations, running the business over there at HomeTroniX. So let's go ahead and bring him in. And without further ado, let's see if technology behaves. Matt, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you doing, Ron?
I'm doing good, man. And for those that are watching the show, don't know that we had to do some gyrations. We had some, not only did I have some internet challenges, but you had some internet challenges, but we're good to go now.
We are live. I had to make a last second trip across town to try to get to better internet, but here we are.
I think that we at One Firefly maybe need to do a better job, maybe define like some sort of standards around upload and download speeds or ping times to help our guests know what it doesn't guarantee that we'll actually stay live here. We've had plenty of shows go offline and bounce around, but fingers crossed here, we'll stay connected. And I know you have pretty good internet there at your office.
Should be good. I think we drop out like 3 times trying to just talk there earlier.
And what I said, Matt, see, that's why we log in early. So we practice and see if the internet's going to cooperate. Matt, where are you coming to us from? Where are you located?
So I am in Jonesboro, Arkansas, in Northeast Arkansas. We're about an hour from Memphis, for those of you that need help getting Arkansas on the map, and about 2 hours from Little Rock.
Okay. And does anyone actually pronounce it Arkansas or is it always Arkansas?
It's always Arkansas.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I
mean,
clearly,
people, I think maybe from Kansas might say that, and people you meet that are trying to be funny say that. I don't know. It's always Arkansas.
yeah, boo to those people. It's Arkansas.
Yeah.
All right. And we, Matt, we have some people already jumping into the feed here. We've got Adam. He goes, hello from North Carolina. And we have Brandy. She says, hello from Las Vegas. And we have Wes. He says, hello. And I had already dropped on the screen earlier, but I'll do it again. We have John. Now, John is with you, correct? John's with HomeTroniX?
John is with HomeTroniX. So I'm sure he'll ask all the hard-hitting questions that he wants to ask me in private, but we'll try to get me to.
Now, I've seen John on some podcasts. So what is John's role within HomeTroniX?
Yeah, so John was one of the first hires that they made at HomeTroniX. Started out in kind of the tech side, quickly moved into sales, really took off, grew the company, has maintained sales. And I like to say he's our industry connection. We kind of let him loose. He's great at developing relationships. So me and my dad are very behind the scenes. We don't, not too much our world.
All right. Well, you've heard it, John, straight from the horse's mouth. You have to ask all the hard hitting questions, and I'll put them right up on screen, and we'll watch Matt sweat. I'm just kidding, Matt. I'm not going to do that to you.
That's fine. Bring it on.
Bring it on. All right. So Matt, let's go back to the beginning. How did you, what's your background look like, and how did you ultimately land in the role you are today with HomeTroniX?
Yeah, so background's Marine Corps after college, officer in the Marine Corps. Did my time there, ended up in Quantico, Virginia, training other lieutenants who were about to go out into the fleet. From there, I really wanted to stay in Northern Virginia for a little bit. I wasn't quite ready to move back to Arkansas, so got into the wine industry. Wine's a big passion of mine in the healthiest way possible.
I was going to say wine's a passion of mine, but only the consuming part of it.
Yeah,
so
no,
were you in the consuming side or the business side?
Both. Obviously you got to consume to know it, right? But no, I am qualified in wine. I have some WSET certifications, Wine and Spirit Education Trust. So for those of you that have seen like Somm, I'm not quite to that level, but
no, I listened to a podcast that talked about Somm. I think it was a Netflix documentary.
It is,
correct?
Yeah.
So there are different classifications to ultimately become the highest ranking sommelier. So are you one of those classifications?
So it's a different qualification process, but I am on the board, I will say. I'm not quite, I would definitely never will be, or do I even desire to put in the effort to be at that level. But I went up to WSET level 3, which is one step below getting your diploma of wine, which is about a 2-year process. That's when I got a little burnt out.
Okay, so can you wear a blindfold, and if you were given various wines, could you tell the difference between a $10, $20, $50, and $100 bottle of wine? Is that even possible?
I think there's quality wines at every price point. And, that's one of the first things you realize. A lot of people, and you see it in this industry as well. A lot of people are, they really want to buy luxury. They might buy a speaker worth $1,000 that I could have bought, for $100 somewhere, just because of the name or whatever the case may be. So, I mean, as you try more and more, and I've worked for Total Wine in Virginia. And so, they have a portfolio of about 8,000 wines. So we tried a lot, and you find them all across the board. One of my favorite, my go-to white wines is this cheap Chenin Blanc from South Africa. And, I had it next in my favorites. There's my $50 cab right next to a $6 bottle of Chenin Blanc. And people are like, that doesn't make sense. But, if you find the quality, the price point can be anywhere.
What do you have an opinion on the Josh wines? Like, we're particular fans of the $10 to $12 Josh wines, the Cabernet.
They're gonna, yeah. I mean, most of that range, they're producing. Their key is to produce consistency year in, year out. They're not, coming in for the blockbuster 100-point rated wines. They want to get as many people to buy as many bottles as possible, and to do that, they have to make the same they're, 2016 versus 2017 versus 2018 should taste the same. So, I mean, good quality wine, good price point.
All right. That's good to know. So I'd love
I
you'll
won't, I
have to
won't call
share
you. I
some of
won't
your
call you a
favorites.
bum.
Well, I don't know. It wouldn't be the worst I've been called, but it is. I love a number of $10 to $20 bottles of wine, and I've struggled to consistently. And I'm admitting my ignorance here on air that I've always struggled to really understand the regular $40 to $50 bottle of wine or greater. I don't know. Do you have to have a particular color flavor palette to get that, or is it like
No, a
is
lot.
there a
And
difference?
that's kind of the business side of it, right? So if you look at Josh, buying $10, they're going to have a huge vineyard. They're sourcing a lot of grapes. They're blending it all together to give you consistency. You go up to that $40, $50, they're buying it from maybe not a single vineyard, but just a couple vineyards. Lot less or a lot more room for error, and especially like those finicky grapes that a lot can go wrong in winemaking. You're going to see a higher price point on those just because a lot more risk goes into it, just like anything else in business. If I put in more risk, I need a higher price. Or if I don't have enough quantity, and I can't sell the volume I need, that's how it gets priced. And then some get a little outrageous because their names get out there and they get some name recognition. And then all of a sudden they start slapping 3 figures on to a bottle of wine. And it's just because of the name alone.
It's very little different than maybe a $50 bottle, the $120 bottle. It's just branding and marketing at that point.
Yeah. It's all marketing and branding.
Gotta love marketing.
I know. Yeah. There's your plug.
There you go. Sometimes it lets you charge more money. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So, Marine Corps, what was your role in the Marine Corps? I mean, how did that happen?
Yeah. So, something I always wanted to do, almost joined out of high school, kind of that classic, like I would have done it, but whatever. Wanted to go to college. The recruiters here were only interested in getting kids out of high school. No one ever told me about ROTC, that was even a thing. So I went down to Tulane in New Orleans, and it just so happened to have not the largest, but one of the larger naval ROTC units. So I had some friends that I made in that. I never actually joined ROTC, which was great because they walked around with their nice haircuts and I walked around with a beard all day. But during the summer, would go do all my training for Marine Corps. Afterwards, became an artillery officer. Never deployed or anything fun. No fun stories there. Ended my time there training future lieutenants in the academics department at what is called the basic school, which is 6 months of training for all Marine Corps officers to teach them basic infantry tactics. So,
you were in Quantico, fun. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm from Virginia, so I only vaguely remember Quantico. Isn't there some type of special forces or something is based out of Quantico?
You're probably thinking FBI.
There you go.
The FBI training facility is in Quantico.
Okay. But that was separate from the military
base. That is separate. Yeah. So they're just located on a Marine Corps base.
I see. Okay. We'll get into it, but I certainly want to circle back to the military. I'm curious in your role in leadership and operations, what some of those takeaways, from that strong military upbringing, how that's affected, how you look at this industry and leading others in this industry. So let's make sure we come back to that topic, but I do want to get the full snapshot of how you landed at HomeTroniX. So what was approximately the year when you left the Marines?
I left the Marines in April of 2018. Yeah, okay, 2018.
So pretty recent.
Somewhat recently, about 2.5 years ago. Went and worked at a winery for a couple months before settling down at Total Wine, which is headquartered out of Bethesda, Maryland. And for those who don't know, national retailer in wine, beer, and spirits. So glorified liquor store. But it's
a
like
nice
the Walmart
big one.
of alcohol.
Like the
but
Walmart
a nice big one, clean.
Liquor
you wear
stores.
a tie. Yeah, you wear a tie every day. So it's professional. And they do very good education, and that was kind of the key there. So about a year and I guess a couple months into that, I was in Northern Virginia and ultimately was ready to make the move back home. I'd always intended to come back to Arkansas. I didn't know when it was going to be. I actually didn't intend to come back to HomeTroniX, but I was kind of looking to see what I should do next with my life. I was 25, so everyone at that age is kind of looking to make that next career jump or get a promotion or whatever the case may be. So I was applying to law schools, MBAs, got a couple full rides, and ultimately was like, I'll get the real life MBA by just working for the family who's always done very well in business. So ultimately decided to come back, work with HomeTroniX and my dad as a learning opportunity, as something, to really learn so that someday I can then go off on my own and start whatever I find to start.
I believe working in a business, in a leadership or executive role or whatever role is a my opinion, much better education than a business school. It's going to teach you so
and
much
of course,
more.
everything you read now is like MBAs are worthless. So I was like, that doesn't sound fun. And I don't want to be a lawyer. I just want a law degree for some reason. So
yeah. You can have like bucket list. Yeah, get law degree, check. Want to practice law?
Now
no,
I'm looking at it.
just
I'm
want
like,
the degree.
No, that's 3 years of school that I don't want to waste 3 years. I can take 3 years, make money, and learn a lot more about business, even with the headaches.
Yeah, for sure. So you joined the business, but and I learned this. I've learned this over the past year in getting to know you. You had a condition under which you wanted to join the family business, HomeTroniX. Mm-hmm. It wasn't obvious that you would come back. What was that condition?
Yeah, so I was looking at it. I'd kind of told my dad I was looking at moving back to Arkansas and looking at jobs and whatever. And he asked, if I wanted to come join HomeTroniX. So I started looking into it really heavily and looking at where we were. And I thought we kind of were at a crossroads in the sense that we'd hit scale. So, we were making money. But I thought there was a ton of room to grow. I thought we had the right amount of market share in our region. But if we wanted to get any bigger, we were going to have to branch out and start looking at those opportunities, making more hires, opening a new office, whatever the case may be. And so my condition was, I basically just point blank asked, are we settling for where we're at now and just going to fight year after year to hit this number? Or are we going to keep going to the next level and keep improving? And I was only interested in coming back if we were going to keep growing, because no one wants to join a company that's settling and is happy where they're at. I just don't believe in.
I think some do. It's all about those life choices and what works, us all being brave enough to know what we want. And it sounds like you knew what you wanted. You wanted a growth opportunity.
Right.
And did you confront Dad and have that conversation? And he said, yeah, let's do it. Or how did that go down?
Yeah. Like my family's, we've always worked together. I guess I'd be the newest addition to the family business, but they've, since my dad and uncle were old enough, they started working in KFC stores at like 14, because back then you could. And so, that's how long they've all been together. So I was raised there's a very good separation between personal and professional. So, I don't mind having that, like, hey, I think we're settling, let's grow. And I'm only coming back if we grow.
So so you joined the business. Am I doing the math? You did join the business in 18?
No, it would have been October of last year, 2019.
Okay, so we're
about 10 months in.
I was to say, well, I'm looking at the calendar. This looks like 11 months in.
Yeah, something around there. Lose track of time. But I don't know if you remember, but I think the first time we ever talked was actually my second day at HomeTroniX.
I don't think I remembered. I knew you were greenish. Please don't be offended, but I didn't know. I didn't know that was 2 days green.
Yeah, no, you're asking me like, what brands do y'all carry? And I was like, no idea. Like, are y'all more residential or commercial? I was like, no clue. So, but obviously know those things now, 11 months in.
Yep.
But my main priority back then was to create an online presence, something professional that when people find us, they want to, they've already been sold, and start driving in those leads. So that's why I contacted you so early.
So I'm going to circle back to the military. How many years were you in the military?
So 4 years or 3.5 years.
3 years. And you were
Yeah.
teaching in Quantico. You were teaching lieutenants, second lieutenants?
Correct. Yep.
And so you were
As a
teaching
lieutenant.
leaders.
Yeah.
What's I mean, your military background is fresh. What
It
what
is.
what are you able to apply, or what really resonates with you that you're able to apply to your taking on a leadership role within HomeTroniX?
Yeah. And, I think a lot of that leadership, gets applied every day, just how to leading by example. I mean, I can, obviously it's going to be a lot of keywords here, but like leading by example, not being complacent, that attention to detail, the things that I think get tossed aside, especially when you get busy, keeping your van clean. What's our appearance to the outside world? That professionalism. Let's not show up in a t-shirt and look like garbage. Small things like that. That's very military, like very, especially Marine Corps. That's something you bring to I bring to the table every day, and I'll go out there and I'll be like, hey, we need to clean these vans because there's bugs all over them, and that looks bad. So it seems simple. It almost seems like a no-brainer, but once you start getting busy and that complacency sets in, it's going to affect everything we do. When you go to a job site, are you going to clean that up because your van's dirty? So that kind of stuff. I try to stay away, day to day with HomeTroniX by using some of the terms that we would use, like, attacking the point of friction, right? So the biggest job I have is one of the first things I did was I laid out our entire process from lead generation, marketing, all the way to billing and then service. And I looked at each step of that process and I was like, where are the inefficiencies? And I placed myself wherever the greatest inefficiencies are in order to fix those. So, I'm sure that's what John wants to ask all the questions about, because he was one of the first people I focused on. But that's what we were doing. Like, billing was inefficient when I first came on board. Our payment, we weren't getting paid quick enough. What I saw, we've now cut that by almost 100% in terms of how fast we get paid. Obviously there was almost no marketing lead generation besides referrals and word of mouth to speak of, which is why I called you Day Two. And now I'm focusing more and more on the project management side of things, the warehouse operations, when the guys show up in the morning, get them out the door as fast as possible. So, I mean, it's like if you wake up first thing in the morning and all of a sudden you can't find your toothbrush, you can't find your razor, you can't find the eggs to cook your breakfast, your day's in disarray to start off. So if you can implement someone in the back and put them in there and put them in the guys' lives to, like, they show up, they're ready to go. It's literally like, go to the bathroom, grab some coffee, whatever you need to do. We're getting out the door. We're getting billable hours right out of the gate. So, I mean, that's the things I focus on. That's really what the Marine Corps helped me and allowed me to bring to the table here.
Are you still affiliated with the military? Are you reserves or something?
No. I am out and free.
You're out and a free man. And for all of those veterans that are listening and or people in their active reserves, we thank you for your service. And Matt, certainly thank you for your service. It's very impressive that so many are willing to volunteer and do that to protect us all. How's business, man? How are you guys handling COVID? And obviously it was scary there for a bit, and a lot of people hurt pretty badly for a bit, and now things, at least in some markets, seem to have flipped to the other extreme. So yeah. What's your reality? What are you seeing in
you're
correct? You're in Northeast Arkansas?
So Arkansas as a whole, we were blessed. We were watching some of our friends in New York, New Jersey, and some of these other states have to just completely shut down. I think we all got declared, for the most part, essential workers, but our job is to go into people's houses. So a lot of the stuff, I'm sure, like, they weren't allowed to do. That never happened for us. So, I think we had a 2-week period where we shut down, but didn't really shut down. And, we were an essential worker. It already been happened. So, like, nothing ever really slowed down here. There was a point where
Did sales slow down? Did customers stop calling, or it stayed business as usual?
We had one customer reach out and say, can I get my deposit back? We want to wait to see how everything plays out. And ultimately they ended up, they asked us to come. They wanted their deposit back, but then they wanted us to fix like something small, like go do an Apple TV or something. We're like, hey, we'll send our guy out. Our guy wore full PPE, very just professional, did it what he was supposed to do, sanitize the entire area he worked at. And they called us like, never mind, keep the deposit. Let's do the project. So that was like the only thing that we even got close to getting hit by. Now I think for a second there, people hesitated. So there may have been a few weeks there where people were hesitating. We heard from a couple of customers, like, let's wait to see how things play out. It didn't last long. We're now having the greatest quarter that we've ever had in terms of sales. So, you know, I know it's kind of late in 2020, so a lot of that's looking to shape out in 2021. So, I mean, we're looking to have a huge next year.
That matches. Last week I interviewed Josh from Portal, and between he and then Kirk, the CEO, he was emailing me live during the show, and he messaged me a graph that I was allowed to talk about on air, and it's mirroring what you're saying now. He stated that June and then July and then August were their highest rate of converted proposals on the Portal platform in company history, which is matching what you're saying, which is Q3 is going to be your best close sale
and hopefully Q4 follows suit and keeps going from there. We added a sales guy. You know, we opened up in Northwest Arkansas, so with a new market, new sales, we're looking obviously to hire new techs always. Hard to come by, but we have a few green guys who we're training to get up there. But you know, we're growing, and it's not slowing down. So I mean, it's all positivity from here. And of course, I think at this point we're all burnt out from COVID, so I don't foresee anything really throwing a wrench in our plans.
No, amen. Well, now is the time to get this very critical John Campbell question out of the way. It's a good time to do this because I want to transition to a different line of kind of chatting here, conversation. But John is asking you if hypothetically you were going to put a pair of Focal Sopras, I think I'm saying that correct, 2s in your showroom, what color would you choose? So is this a joke of a question, or are you just really a debate?
No, I mean, it's a joke, but it's somewhat serious. He knows my opinion. So we like I was telling you before we went live, we were completely gutting out our showroom and redoing it and creating a living room setup with I don't even know what type of stone that is on the wall, but it's colorless. It's like a white stone, and
like so a marble colored, like a light.
Yeah, it's something. Limestone. I don't know. That's
channel your inner interior designer, Matt. You can do it.
Well, my opinion was we needed color in that area, so they make these orange speakers. Well, One HomeTroniX is orange, right? Like that's just kind of our color. So I was like, that would look awesome. I would want those orange speakers. Our worry is, you know, the wives will come in with their husbands and not want orange speakers in their house. So there's also a wood panel. You might
hear a shriek.
There's also a wood panel. Yeah, they're like, those are ugly. and they're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be architectural, so they should look nice. So they make wood paneled ones as well. So he wants the wood paneled, I want the orange. We'll see.
I think from a branding standpoint, I agree. I think if you did not plan on the necessity to move those, because it also costs you money to put stuff on display.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's not free. So if you don't plan to have to move them, I do think they would look cool to have orange. But I do see, I mean, John's got a point. Many an interior designer or, you know, spouse in that family unit is probably one half's going to love orange and the other half's probably going to hate with a capital.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely, we'd probably sell more with the wood paneled. So we should probably go with that. I'll let him win this one. Every now and then he has to, I have to let him win a battle to keep him happy.
He says he's willing to go with white. I just saw the comment.
We're not going with white. That's no.
All right. Just stick with wood, John. Take the win. Take the win. Stick with wood. That's funny. Oh, Wim is saying, our friend out of Spain, he says Portal did orange pants and it worked out for them. So go with orange.
Well, there we go. We'll open it up to the community. We'll put a little poll on Facebook and see what everyone wants.
There you go. You heard it here, guys. It's going to be a Facebook poll, and the winner takes all. So, Matt, back to operations and kind of that core. One of the things that excited you about joining the company was this concept of growth. How do you think about that, and how did you start to map out a strategy of growth? Like, what does that mean? Growing within your current market, taking on new markets. What did that mean to you?
Well, both of those. I don't like to attack one front at once. I want to go after as many as I can. So within our own market, it was definitely how can we get more leads in the door, or not necessarily in the door, but through online was the main platform I was going after. But John had built this very large network of people that referred us, and that was where everything was word of mouth. And we were getting some major jobs around the country because they had heard about us, and we were getting some major jobs within the community because they'd heard about us, and that's great. My goal was to then, how do we keep growing that network? How do we keep bringing in new leads? So that was one aspect of that growth strategy, was just to get organic growth off the website. Someone Googling home theater control for outdoor whatever will find us, and they'll click on our website. And I know I'm kind of giving you a plug here, and you told me not to, but it was a major part of my growth strategy.
Well, you've done it, so now I'm going to share it. We'll see if I can get technology to behave. So there's your website. You keep talking.
Yeah.
I'll navigate.
Yeah.
I'll poke around.
That was it. They click on that, and they're like, "Wow, these guys are legit," without having ever even talked to us. And that was my idea. And that's probably what I told you that second day. I was like, I have no idea what we do. I don't know our brands. I don't know if we're more residential, more commercial, but I want someone who clicks on our website to be like, these guys are professional. If they go to our social media, that was another aspect of it. It's very, millennial mindset. It's very 2020, but that's how I look at every business. I go to their Instagram, I go to their Facebook page, and I go to their website, and then I call. So that's where my mind was at on the growth within the market. And then each of those customers we do a good job for, and we'll go right back to word of mouth with them. And that's where John shines. And then on the side of actual new markets, it was mostly looking at where the job's coming from outside of Northeast Arkansas. Of course, we consider Memphis within our market. That's only an hour away. Little Rock's kind of right there on the threshold, but Northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville, Bentonville, Rogers area was really the area I saw ripe for the picking. If you just look at the development going on there, Walmart has recently announced their new campus that they're building. So development has taken off, prices in the area has skyrocketed. There's a lot of Walmart executives is headquartered there, JB Hunt, Tyson's. There's a lot of really large companies headquartered in that area with executives, and they want the stuff that we sell. And it was almost like a no-brainer. There's almost not much thought going into the process, because you look at, if you look at competition, there's some really great integrators up there. But there's more than enough jobs to go around. And, I think I can, really name 3, maybe 4 integrators in that area. We have 3 in Jonesboro, which is like significantly smaller size. So, the competition, it's greener pastures. It was no brainer to get up there. So as soon as we got our sales guy, who's one of our techs, he's starting to really shine and do some great things. He's up there now just hustling and closing jobs for us. And it's going really, really well.
Had your family business in the past, would they choose to not do projects in different markets? Were they mindful of saying no to other geographies? Or is it just that today, because of that, you just mentioned that construction that's happening in that market, it's booming. And so you're going where the jobs are, and you're following that. What was the decision in the past? Do you know?
Everything was based out of Northeast Arkansas. So it wasn't necessarily, you're talking about in terms of HomeTroniX, right?
HomeTroniX.
You said that family. Okay. I don't think, there wasn't necessarily the staff to expand. I don't think there's really the desire to put that extra effort and investment into, either, looking at buying a company or hiring up and getting the right people there, and then who would manage. There's a lot going into that. That I just think, and maybe there weren't as many jobs. We have a lot of connections in that area, and they've been very nice to us, and we're grateful for them. And because of that, and just kind of the timing of everything, it was just the right time to make that move. I don't think probably wasn't the right time in the past. We were too focused on just growing our market share here in the Northeast part of the state.
I think I know this to be the case, but if not, correct me. You guys are looking at growing not only organically, but also if and when the opportunity strikes through acquisition. And at least I know you think that way. I don't know if you guys have done that or acted on that.
We haven't. We got in some conversations with a couple of companies, and I just could not convince myself that it was the right move. Obviously, you have, you need the staff, and that's what they would bring to the table, is something that works. And I was listening to your podcast with Bravus CEO Ryan Anderson. Yeah. He kind of said the same thing. How they did Bravus was everyone got into alignment before they made it happen. And, that's just a whole nother battle to fight. Is if you buy a company, you got to bring them into your way of doing things. You got to pick and choose. The problem I see in our industry with that kind of acquisition mindset is a lot of companies are owner operator. And if you take away the ownership part of that, does that person really want to stay? And is it almost a cult of personality where do their employees want to stay? That was my fear. And really how do you put a price on that? And it just didn't seem like, the risk was too much for how much you would have to pay to buy a company. And that's just,
you certainly could buy the company. Someone would accept a paycheck, but
someone wants the money.
What you don't know with confidence is, will all that is that company, which frankly is the people,
right?
Would the people stick?
Right.
And there's no way to force them to stick.
And I mean, you could try. I personally, if you came to me and tried in the way that I would be thinking this is the only way with like non-competes and everything, I'd be like, I'm out. Like, see ya. Especially if I was the owner. I don't want to, most owners have that same mindset. You don't want to work for someone else. So that's just the way it is. So I didn't think it was worth it. I thought for a lot less money, I can grow organically, and it might take an extra year or two to get to scale or the right size, but that's just the way it's going to have to be.
How are you guys handling, getting people? I just actually, this is CEDIA, virtual CEDIA week. I taught a course, with my manager of people operations. I taught the course yesterday morning, and I actually taught it around HR and hiring practices.
You should have told me.
I think it's going to be available I've got it saved. I'll send you the tape.
Just send it over to me.
I'll send it over. But I'm curious how you guys are currently thinking about staffing and finding people, and just kind of how you manage the whole hiring process. I mean, is there any secrets you have? Anything that you want to share?
If anyone has secrets, please send them my way. I think one of the largest hindrance to any company in this industry is the ability to hire experienced and talented technicians. And it's something we struggle with. And, we just kind of started opening that door to new hires. We plussed up our staff earlier in the year, but at the time I saw it as an investment. So I took, younger guys who I knew I could train. And that's who I was looking for, barring some experienced guy walking through the door, I knew I had to take someone who was smart, interested, and willing to put in the effort to learn. Now we are looking for experienced people. We need experienced people. So any secrets on how to find those people? Like, let me know.
I thought you were going to drop anyone interested.
If I did have that secret, I would not be telling it to the public. I would be keeping it to myself.
No, it's so true, man. You mentioned that you are, you had your best sales quarter in history, and what makes an integrator so different than a retailer is that when business pops, a retailer can sell more boxes and they can make up for a bad month or a bad quarter. But an integrator, so much of what you do, there's a bottleneck, which is your ability to put people on the project and pull the wire and install the stuff and program the stuff. I mean, you can only do so much. Even if it's raining, your bucket is fixed.
Right. I mean, and that's something that was hard for me when I first got back to come to that realization that, I was coming from retail. So I saw that, you get your numbers that day and you know what you did. You have your goal for the next day. The cash flow in this industry, it's most similar to construction, right? You sell a job, you get a deposit, you order the product, you schedule it, and then you have, multiple stages of the project, and you progressive bill and, keep the cash flowing. But we might have, we did have the largest quarter and we're only halfway through the last month of the quarter. Half that could come in next month, half that could come in the next month, and half of that could come in midway through 2021. It's like really projecting out and having to stay on top of that. But that is the issue, is you do get bottleneck, and especially in times like right now where production and shipping is just atrocious. It's, making that decision. Do you want to keep a lot of product on hand and have a huge inventory, or do you want to continue with what we've always done in order for the job? So, I mean, it's just daily decisions, and, I'm sure one company will do it one way, another company will do it another way. And I'm not sure there's a best way, but it's what you choose to do.
Any vendors you want to give a shout out to because maybe they're handling inventory in a particularly positive way, or they're making product available to you? I didn't tell you that in advance. I would ask that.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that.
I certainly don't want you to call anyone out negatively.
Yeah, right? No, I won't do that. I definitely will. I'm smart enough not to do that. Well, I'm smart enough, but I might be mean enough.
You might be tempted because you really want some stuff, and squeaky wheel gets the grease.
True Audio's done really well. They still get us our product. Our speaker line, they get us our product very quickly. We can pretty much contact them anytime and get what we need from them. We go through ADI to get a lot of our cameras and stuff from Hike Vision and many other products, because they're just a wholesale distribution, and they're they have a place in Little Rock, so when we're down there for business, we can pick up stuff, and they've done a good job. So I'll give a shout out to those two.
Big picture for access to hardware and inventories. What's the word on the street? What's the scuttlebutt? When do you think this gets better for everyone, yourself and the industry?
I think soon. I don't know. I'm not going to pick a date, but I think it will be soon. I'm starting to see more and more product come in. Things seem to be opening back up, and they seem to be getting their products and putting them together and getting it to us. A big one was Sonos, and I'm not calling them out for being bad.
I'll call them out. I've been waiting for my portals for my house for weeks.
Well, I've been waiting for Sonos Arcs for months. And so,
oh no. Okay. Right.
But, I'm not calling them out for being bad. I think they released a product right at the beginning of a shutdown, and right at the time where you look at Home Depot and Lowe's, and they're posting like 150% like increase in earnings because everyone's doing home improvement. Of course, everyone's now trying to buy this new speaker that's coming out. So I don't blame them. It's just terrible timing.
Speaking of that, my internet went out yesterday, and I was preparing that I might be out for weeks, maybe longer. I didn't know how long it would take the developer to rerun my fiber line. And I started calling around to AT&T stores to get their access point, their hotspot. All the stores are sold out. Like, oh yeah, you can't. And all the eight. So I was almost panicking, because I was like, oh my God, if I'm without internet, oh my God, what do I do? And I can't even get an access point to get on the internet.
Well, I mean, it's access points, TVs. If you go to, we also got hit by a double whammy. We had a tornado here in Jonesboro back in March, took out Best Buy. Luckily, no one was injured in this tornado. So
like, it knocked down the store?
Gone, completely gone.
What happened to all the electronics? They blew around into people's yard,
they're on the street, but luckily no one was hurt. But I mean, that's something, we've now been hit by you're not really competing with Best Buy, directly. Oh, you are, but you're not. They're two very different
Yeah,
entities.
no, they're in the electronics business. The
But
Magnolia
someone might go
stores.
to Best Buy, Walmart, Sam's Club to buy a TV. Well, they can't go to Best Buy anymore, and they know we install TVs as part of our project. So like they'll start contacting us. Well, then all of a sudden, all the backup. I mean, you can't find TVs anywhere, and that's been a huge issue. So Best Buy was kind of a blessing since no one got hurt. I can say that. But also, that's also been a huge part of the increase in the small sales, that kind of more retail sales that we'll do.
Question. This week is CEDIA. This is CEDIA Virtual Week. Are not to call you out, but just out of curiosity, are you guys participating? And is that even on your map or radar as something to do, or are you guys too busy?
I would imagine John will find time. I honestly had not even put it on my, my schedule. I hadn't really. I get the emails all the time, and they kind of just go straight to the trash. Just if something piques my curiosity, I'll definitely participate. But as far as I know, I will not be. But that's nothing against anyone. That's just
I for sure. Just I like taking the pulse, and we just so happen to be doing it in a very public way. That's all.
Yeah.
The future what does the future hold for buying groups? I know you're in Azione.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have customers in all the major buying groups, and all the major buying groups have either canceled their events, and or moved to virtual events. As an integration firm that is at a peak of busyness that you haven't seen in some time, how does that affect you guys? Or is that on your radar as an issue? I know it's an issue for vendors that are trying to get the attention of businesses.
Right.
I'm curious if it's on the radar of the small business integration firm as mattering.
All right. So it's on my radar. I am paying attention to it. And main reason being, we joined Azione, I guess, back in December. So we are new, and they canceled the first convention of the year. So I haven't had a chance to really go down there and really get involved and meet anybody. So I want to go for that purpose. Is it on my radar as like an issue? Like, do I really care one way or another if I don't get to go to
from the programs?
Right.
So financially, you're immediately benefiting.
Yeah. So I mean, like I am curious that I want to get involved. Part of the selfish reason is I think the fall convention was in DC, and of course I want to go back to DC and see all my friends. So there's a little bit of selfishness there, but I hope. It's supposed to be in October, so honestly, I might have been ignoring those emails as well.
No, it's been canceled.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, you haven't missed out.
I actually am still going to be in DC. So
yeah, no, I think, to my knowledge, and if anyone knows differently, please post a message. I think all buying group events this fall
have been canceled.
They've been moved, I think, mostly to some sort of a virtual activity.
Yeah, that's what I'm believing. I've seen, but but no, I am excited for that to get started again. So
awesome, Matt. A lot of our audience are watching now, or they're watching in replay, and or they're listening at some point, whether here in the fall of 2020, or maybe they're listening down the road. You bring a wealth of operations and leadership experience into this role within HomeTroniX. And I always love if you've had an observation or an epiphany, or you've been able to affect change in your business in a positive way. If there's some nugget of gold or just thing that you would have others be mindful of, anything that jumps to the front of your mind to share with our audience?
Well, I hope I've made changes in a positive way. They seem to be positive from all the numbers, but the one thing I just try to live by every day when I'm looking at what I want to do we're always trying to improve, but kind of the motto I go by is stagnation kills. You can also say complacency kills. But it goes back to just, not getting complacent, always searching out those inefficiencies and finding ways to make them better. And that's really, if I had to define my role, that's pretty much what I do as I seek out and try to get us better every single day in order to grow and build a stronger foundation. So stagnation kills. Don't get complacent.
Love it. Do you still see your role, Matt, into the, I'll just say maybe the year ahead as plugging yourself into areas of inefficiency within the business and basically just
I think I'm kind of right there at the end of my last big changes I want to make, and I'm starting to kind of get more involved in the warehouse, and I kind of actually enjoy being back there because it's with the guys and I'm kind of on the ground with them. So I kind of feel like that's where I'm going to be for a little bit. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever really stop. There'll always be somewhere that we can get better. I don't want to cause chaos. I don't enjoy that. I like chaos personally, but I don't want our guys to feel that chaos. So I will do what I feel is right and put myself where I think is the best spot to be.
Awesome. Matt, for those that are watching or listening and they want to get directly in touch with you, what do you recommend? What's best?
You can shoot me an email at Matt, M-A-T-T, at myhometronics.com. That's probably the best and easiest way to get a hold of me. And yeah, shoot me an email.
I am going to attempt Matt at myhometronics.com. That's Tronics with a I-X, correct?
Correct.
I'm going to put that on the screen. Tell me if I did it right.
It's moving, makes reading hard. Yep, that's right.
All right. So for those that are at least watching the video, you'll see it. It's Matt at myhometronics.com. And your website URL is myhometronics.com.
Yeah. Well. So check that out too. That can be, I know a guy if you need a website.
There you go. He knows a guy. Matt, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And I know you were set up at your home office and you very politely offered to drive into the office to make sure the internet was going to be robust enough for this show. So thank you for doing that.
No, it's no problem. It's 2 minutes away. So
awesome. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for being on episode 137.
I appreciate you having me on.
All right, gang, there you have it. That was a show 137, Automation Unplugged. And thank you for everyone that was watching and listening and commenting. And I see John did just put up a comment. He says, awesome show, guys. Thank you, John. Appreciate your support as always. Appreciate everything you do. And gang, in case you have not already done so, please subscribe to the podcast. I sound like a broken record only because I am watching the subscription numbers every week. And I want to make sure that you guys know this is more than just a video show. And it is a podcast, meaning just the interview part is available in audio format. Just go to your favorite podcast platform. I use Apple Podcasts. And just type in the words Automation Unplugged and you'll find the show and you can follow us there. And otherwise, you can always call us. You can always visit our website. I didn't talk about it actually on the intro, so I'll talk about it here on the outro. We also just launched a brand new About Us page on our corporate website. So that just went live yesterday. Love your feedback. So if you're still with me now, go to our onefirefly.com, go to company and then down to About Us and navigate. We put a whole timeline there of the history of One Firefly back to the origin in 2007. And you'll see me and my late puppy dog named Oliver, my Jack Russell. He went to the office with me every day and there's a picture there and all the way to the present. So anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time.